Alright, so this is the other option. I am not going to fight him. I am going to be getting my brain back. Alright, so, exactly. I want my brain so I can leave.
Now, that seems to be rather hormonal of you. Flight or fight response, you know. Hard to cut that out completely. Your brain is here, safe with me. We chat over mentats.
I need my brain back.
Do you? You seem fine without it. And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should ask it. It's quite independent, has all manner of opinions. Tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain. If it wants to go, then fine. If not, well, you should respect its wishes.
Time for me to go. Goodbye.
Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
Alrighty then. Talk to the brain again. Now we've already talked to the brain, so I will skip through all this stuff for you guys.
Well, well.
Yeah. Choosing the same options I chose before. Or at least semi-close to them. Right. Got speech. We're in impasse. Here we go. We're already almost done. We have to be together. So what do you say? Alright. Actually, let's choose this other option just because. Why? They promised to put us back together once I did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
True. You're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day.
Damn right you do.
All right. What's the plan?
Same plan as before.
I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with...
Alright, same stuff. Alright. I'll have to go back to him. Or no, I don't.
Oh, I see you and your brain reached a compromise. How pleasant. I hypothesized after the indignant frequencies my receptors had recepted, such a partnership-based conclusion would be low on the likely scale.
Well, you were wrong. Let's see. I haven't meant that. My brain told me the think tank needs to be stopped. Can you help?
If I recall, I had a plan that was working, whatever it was. I don't think it reached fruition. I would recall fruit if it had happened. I wasn't trying to kill them, just keep them out of trouble. What was that plan? Blast! I probably wrote it down on the floor somewhere.
Alright, so what was that plan you had?
Something ingenious and needlessly complicated, I expect. I may have already told you and forgotten it. I forgot I had forgotten pencils until one day I found one. Spent days studying its purpose before my memory circuit kicked in. Felt quite silly.
Any tactics I can use?
That will be difficult. It would be like fighting 5 scaled-down versions of me that have better depth perception. And they have an arsenal of vivisectors, brainial beams, and a rather nasty fray that can make your atoms do a happy dance. If you could survive those highly improbable odds and ends, then deceasing them is definitely an option. Although I doubt killing them would do anything except make you feel better. Or let you brag to other humans about your primal violentness.
Anything can do to stop them that doesn't require violence.
Well, you could try and appeal to their humanity. That's a tired cliche. And really, when they were humans, they weren't very good humans.
Alright. Any suggestions for how to change their minds?
Well, there's many things they have forgotten, sitting in their bowls. Friendship, the thrill of discovery, love, masturbation, the usual. Much like your brain, I am certain there is something you can spark within each of them. Memories, hormones. A wise man once said, "The eyes do more than see. Make them see, if you can. Or, if not, you can always make them succumb to fear." It certainly worked for me, for a time. Then you came along, and bravery and/or desperation trumped that little idea. Back to the drawing board, I suppose. Or is this the end? Hard to tell.
Alright, scare them. How?
Oh, tell them I'm still alive. We had a nice chat, and we agree on a few things. That's true, isn't it? Or you could kill me and lie about it. Either way, it would be interesting. And if you are partial to lying and deception, well, you could tell them a ludicrous lie. The more over the top, the better. That's my experience. They're more than a little gullible. Better make it convincing, though, or it'll be the dissection table and vivisectors for you. And if you speak of me, please try and make me look good. I am Dr. Mobius, after all, not some lab assistant teacher's aide.
Alright, time to go. Sweet. Alright, well then, let's go back to the main area. Alright, Klein. Time to do this peacefully.
The lobotomite.
Alright, so same thing as before. Let's see. Let's see. Found my brain. This is something we should discuss. Let's do a speech check. Well, actually, let's do something new. Mobius and I talked it over, reaching an understanding.
You are lying. No, you are not. Your heartbeat, perspiration, all excessively confident and sure of yourself.
Damn right.
Why would you reason with that maniac? He'll destroy us all.
Maybe you should confer with your colleagues first.
Nonsense. Confer, colleagues. Those are two words I do not recognize.
Impossible.
Dr. Klein, I must intersect. Please, do not harm the lobotomite.
Damn right, Dala.
I'm not going to harm it. I'm going to dissect it until it's dead. Why the sudden intersection, Dala?
I cannot stand a sweet breathing organism, breathing in and out to suddenly not breathe. We must keep it alive. For study. Slow study.
Dala, these vocalized pauses are unlike you. What do you care?
Klein, are you sure we've calculated all the combat probabilities here? I mean, the lobotomite confronted Mobius. Plus, you know, we haven't had a COMBAT drill in forever. I don't think we could form a tactical attack triangle if we wanted to.
Releasing the WOMBAT was not my plan, so get off my voice box.
Silencing opinionators.
Why are you acting like this? You've never refused to commit necessary surgery before. And this lobotomite needs its surgery.
I did hack his airwaves. That's right. And I made him agree with me.
What is wrong with you? You sound brain scrubbed, blindly agreeing with the lobotomite. What?
If I may, I feel as if I must be the voice of reason here. This lobotomite is much like us. Regarding even animals and pets is nothing more than avenues to promote science.
Sure, whatever.
There is good here. Instead of ending its life on the table, we should prolong its suffering in the name of science. Like good old Gabe, the finest of lab specimens.
That's right, Gabe.
Why am I even listening to you fools? Enough of this mutinous chorus. If there's a word I hate, it's mutiny. And the word jism, which never made any sense to me. It's ridiculous putting j and zm together like that. Nonsense! I count as 5, like the mighty human hand I once had, with its 5 penises clenched in a fist.
Oh, man. Sounds to me like your math is wrong. And the odds aren't good.
Nonsense! The mathematics of this situation are on our side, lobotomite. I believe... No, wait. Carry the 2, then... If this were a democracy, I would be concerned. We are too scientific for that. So just surrender.
It's not a democracy, it's a research facility. And over half your colleagues dispute your findings.
You dare use logic against me?
I do. Here's the deal. I'm not going to surrender. You are.
That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm.
Nope. Let's see. Really? So, either he does it for me, or I bring the Mojave to you. Yeah, I can bring the Mojave, this world, to you. You'll be safe, and you'll still be able to experiment.
For you? And for science? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service as long as you do not destroy us.
Alright, leave the think tank.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the most powerful minds of the 23rd century. The courier who had been brought to the Big Empty became its new overlord, using its facilities ruthlessly and decisively when needed. Sometimes, science is more than a quest for discovery. It is a weapon to be used in the service of one with the strength to understand it.
The Sync Central Intelligence Unit was impressed by the amount of exploration the courier had undertaken. Facilities believed lost, destroyed, or ones that had simply gotten up and walked to new locations had been rediscovered by its intrepid new master. Internally, the artificial personality debated as to whether it preferred the old management to the new, and concluded that the courier's thorough approach to research and investigation was admirable and worthy of its respect.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat. One of them eventually transferred to the Lightwave Dynamics plant, and began a long, unrequited affair with one of the holograms.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magnetohydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean. Once it learned of the innovative toxins plant, however, it gained new purpose. It sought to develop antitoxins to flush into its drains and counteract the poisons bleeding into the soil.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. It learned several new murderous techniques from the courier, and built a blood shrine to itself in the cuckoo's nest. The cave floor was soon filled with the horror of 100 gutted toasters, a silent, grisly, unplugged audience. Their purpose? To toast bread, unfulfilled.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X-8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after, the stealth suit had left it without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
The Big Empty lived up to its name, a hollow crater of failures of a past era, a last sad statement of the old world.
In the time following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, Old World Blues became more than a catchphrase.
It became a reality, a withering form of nostalgia for times long past.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, it was all this and more. Old world blues, new world misery. The two became one in the courier's shadow.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.